So why do we keep falling? Oh, you know we know this is love, holding on to something we know will turn to nothing. Oh, you know we should give it up this slow. Why do we keep falling?
What's up? I'm back. Kind of. I'm in California. I'm kind of back, you know. When I say kind of back, I mean this is the return. The video I have not recorded jack realistically, but I was just in California. I'll get to telling you guys why I haven't been uploading. There's two main reasons, but that'll be later in the video. And along with that, basically this is just like the comeback video to keep pushing this stuff going forward. I do enjoy making this stuff for you guys. I didn't get really any content at all out here. I just enjoyed my time here. I was here for a short weekend right before my spring break, so like it was the weekend that my spring break would have started. I left on a Friday when I still had classes. I took my exams early, all that stuff. We're still doing good, right? Life is good, can't complain. But yeah, that's it. We will get regularly scheduled uploads going again, along with the, you know, the workout videos and all that stuff. We didn't get to have a nice little California vlog before I made it back, but I did get some cool pictures that I can put on the Instagram and in the video a little bit. You know, obviously they're douchey as hell, but who cares? You know, there's only one life to live, and why would I want to be stuck living somebody else's life and not my own? But yeah, that's kind of it. We'll get into the video later, and then I'll talk to you guys pretty much about all the other stuff. Those two main reasons, a third, but that reason will come later on. You guys won't necessarily need to know about that yet.
So why do we keep falling? Oh, you know we know this is love, holding on to something we know will turn to nothing. Oh, you know we should give it up this slow. Why do we keep falling? Broken hearts and now where do they go from you? Been through sun, walls and snow, just to fall apart and now where do they go? Cause I know that we know this love is waiting till the end. So why do we keep falling? You know we should give it up this slow. Why do we keep falling? Why do we keep falling?
Alright. Might be echoey as fuck. I'm gonna run down my cardio based off what I did. So, 30 minutes. The first 20 minutes were at switching between an 8 pace and a 10 pace. So on the stair stepper, I started out with, I think at 8, I went up to a 9, held a 10 as well for a little bit, went back down to a 9 at a certain point because it wasn't easy for me to, well, I shouldn't say it wasn't easy, but I felt like I was getting like more winded than like zone 2, what I believe zone 2 is. So I moved back down to a 9, and then I ended up going back down to an 8. In the last 10 minutes, so out of 30 minutes, the last 10 were guaranteed at a 9 pace. Then I did my last 3 minutes, so a total of 33 minutes. First 20 minutes were between an 8 and a 10 pace. Yeah, 8 and 10. I hit like 7 right at the beginning, but then I just went up because it wasn't fast enough because I did 7 yesterday. Then last 10 minutes, that was, or sorry, the next 10 minutes I should say. Next 10 minutes were at a 9, and after 9, we went straight to 3 minutes where we dropped it down to a 4 once it hit 30. Then at 31 minutes, we dropped it down to dropped it down to a 5, then a 4, then a 3. After 3, so after 33 minutes and at a 3 speed, so from a 9 to a 5 to a 4 to a 3 every single minute after 30. And yeah, just to kind of get my heart a little bit used to just going down without crashing. Let's see cardio. After that, I did wear a sweatshirt just 'cause it gets a little cold in here sometimes, especially the first room. Nothing crazy on like that side. And the same thing is true of this sleeve, you know. It's bound to happen though. And then black shirt. You can see my ball head. I don't think we're going to see relatively leanness difference. This is only the second day. All this shit kind of fell. Holy fuck. Got really busy. So this is fasted cardio, and also I had 200 milligrams of caffeine, just because I hadn't eaten, so I'm gonna require a little bit more energy, or like, you know, and I had shit sleep, so those two things, like, it wasn't probably the best for me to do this. I probably could have gotten rest, but I had a meeting in the morning, so I wasn't gonna be able to get those full 8 hours. So this is our cardio. We will head back to the house, to the crib, whatever. Drink more water. We're gonna drink protein shake after this, just because we do want to keep getting in a little bit small amount of fats, a little bit of carbs, and mostly a focus on protein, because we do in a cut want to keep that 1 gram per body weight. That way we can maintain, right? We're not trying to build so we don't need as much carbs. We just try to maintain. So it's gonna be more protein focused rather than cutting down on the carbs. Okay, so the 2 reasons that I wasn't uploading, I forgot to do this, is because 1, my phone storage is full and I'm trying to move it between this and my computer, but this is an Apple device, my computer's not, and it's a pain because the USB, when I plug it in, and versus when I plug like my USB-C into this one, it doesn't really work that well, or lightning charge or whatever. It's so hard to organize, so it's just taking a lot of time, and I don't want to delete anything, but it's just taking a shit ton of time. And the other thing is that just school has been an absolute kicking my ass. So those 2 things really adding up. I'm not really having a lot of time, but I'm doing my best, like I said, to just make this priority, and, you know, that's what I'm saying. So I love you guys. Like, subscribe, Tell your grandma, rest in peace to your other grandma who got hit by a bazooka. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by my phone falling. We're heading home. You know, I got some decent lighting here. I can actually see what the I'm looking at now, which is chill. We need to get home safely. But since this video has like 5 minutes of cardio that I actually recorded, I'll probably cut that down or speed it up. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that shit is fun to watch. Oh my gosh, bro. If this phone doesn't stay up. Alright. Let me raise my voice so you can hear me even better since I'm accelerating to the speed limit. What? I don't think cardio is going to be fun to watch, so I'll probably speed it up as you've seen. If not, I'm sorry. I probably just needed to meet a certain video length. And I'll be honest with you about that. Because I do need to record. I will record either today or tomorrow. I'm feeling decent today. So it just depends how I feel after work, realistically. Like, I don't want to use any more caffeine because I've already hit 200 already. I think that's a pretty solid amount for the day. If I do any, it'll be like 50. I'll probably use like a hell of a Spark gummy, which are actually really goated. They get me like locked in pretty fast. Like within 20-ish minutes. I'd say 15 to 20 minutes is probably accurate. So shout out to Brody Shreds, because that's actually one, tasty, and two, it is really on about like working. It's not gonna lock you in like a Gorilla Mind energy drink. I'm gonna be so honest. Gorilla Mind energy drinks are like a cheat code, because yes, I understand they're expensive, like more expensive than other energy drinks, but those things lock me in like an absolute. I feel like I'm, right? Maybe that was a distasteful joke. Anyways, regardless of that, what I've been thinking about recently, a little car talk, is cardio sucks. This is my second day doing cardio, and it's hard for me to meet those meals. I eat the same meals all the time, and you're always going to be wanting those meals if you're hungry, but if you're not hungry, you're not going to eat them unless you're like really being dialed in on your diet, right? Now me, since I'm now in a cutting phase, this is the first cut I've actually taken like serious on purpose. A lot of my accidental cuts have been me not eating enough food, so I get a little bit leaner and probably lose a good amount of muscle in the process, or like some. I've been pretty consistent about eating. Now I think about it, during those times when I don't eat enough food, my protein goes down. So we're gonna go over a couple tips that have helped me, right? I'm only on day 2 of doing cardio, but I've decided to just start doing a little bit of a cut, start slowing it down. There's a couple things that have been super helpful to me, right? And the opposite of what I'm gonna say is gonna be helpful for if you're on a bulk. So I'll go over the first thing. The first thing, right, is protein. Protein is a super important thing. On a cut, you need to maintain as much possible muscle if you want to look as lean as possible and drop the body fat that you have, right? That way the amount of muscle mass, especially lean, you keep as much of it as possible. Are you going to be able to keep all of it? Realistically, probably not. There's always going to be some sort of muscle that takes a hit when you are in a cut. However, the one thing that I will say is the less protein you consume, the more that will be broken down and not maintained in your actual body, right? So when I say that, let's say your maintenance weight is 170 pounds. Let's say your maintenance body weight that you want is 170. You're gonna eat, or let's just say that's what you're at right now. Eat 170 grams of protein, right? Or get it in through your diet, even if that's protein shakes, this, that, and the other. Like, my recommendation isn't that that's your first choice, but I would say supplement it in. That way you're hitting as much of that as possible, and if you need those supplemental help through supplements, right, you use it. Now, you want to cut down your carbs a little bit, and your fats should kind of stay about the same. Realistically, the way I feel about it is they should stay about the same whether you're in a cut or in a bulk. I would say cut down your fats a little bit too, maybe, if that works better for you. I'm kind of like messing with it now, but as of now it's about the same. My fats are about the same. I'm just eating less like processed, so I guess my fats technically come down. But if you're eating like avocados and things that are like healthy fats, I would keep that. I would keep as much of that as possible, because you want a good amount of those for hormone regulation, and that's going to keep your testosterone high. Also really good, really important is your sleep, because all that stuff gets done in your sleep. But the next thing, I went off on a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a tangent. The next thing we're going to talk about is, with that protein, make sure if you want to feel more satiated, right, more full for a longer duration of time, or with your smaller meals, I should say, if you're cutting down your meal sizes or maybe your meal amounts, eat your protein first and then your carbs. This is something I've played with. It might not work for you, but protein makes you feel more full, and so does some certain type of fiber. I'd have to like look back on it, but I'm not going to get into that. I'll just go over the protein portion. Whenever I eat my protein first as opposed to my carbs, let's say I have rice, let's say I have beef, right? If I eat my beef first, the littler or smaller amount of rice that I have, whatever carb that you do have, is going to be not like as, how do I say, like you don't necessarily feel like you have to eat as much, because you feel satiated or more full for a longer duration of time, because the protein makes you feel more full. That's something I've noticed. Is this backed up by science or fact? I'll be honest, I haven't looked. I'm not that nerdy, right? I just kind of act like I am and know a little bit more things than some people do, just based off of going around the block once or twice. But the other thing I would say is caffeine, right? Caffeine is useful, but don't abuse it. You're going to build up a tolerance to it, just like any drug, essentially. Yes, caffeine is a drug just based off of like the definition of what drugs. Same with alcohol, same with all this other stuff. It changes your body and has some sort of effect that's not normal, right? Doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's good. Don't go crazy with the caffeine, right? If you can kind of use it throughout the day consistently, let's say you have 1 cup of coffee, let's say it's a cold coffee, right? You drink some in the morning, you drink some in the afternoon, and then you cut off yourself by like 2 or 3 p.m. It has like a half-life of a certain amount of time, meaning that if you have 100, 50 will remain in a certain amount of time, and it just keeps going. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. Look it up if you want a better definition. Otherwise, I'll just take way more time than necessary. But that's what I'm saying there. So the next thing I'm going to say, don't abuse it, right? Use it kind of like as a tool. But at the same time, it is an appetite suppressant. So, you know, you're not going to be as hungry if you have caffeine. That's why that works. Those are like the main things I have, right? One of my friends was talking me through numbers. Shout out River. River, he's a dog. He's a G. Go follow him on Instagram. It's like Big Riv Lifts. And I don't know that I've seen a YouTube or anything from him, but I know he does his Instagram stuff. So Big Riv Lifts. He's really, really smart. He's younger than me. He's really tapped into shit I'm not, especially like conjugate and like a bunch of other like really strong powerlifting in a way kind of lifts, but he's like still relatively aesthetic, if you want to go like that. He doesn't look like the super chubby stereotypical powerlifters. Where was I going with that? Yeah, point is, he was talking me through some numbers, and he said it was backed up by some science, and I haven't looked into it, but I do trust him because the progress he's made is actually insane. So, you know, is there a fallacy here? Yes. But to get into that, all I'm going to say is what he told me is for a bulk versus a cut. This is what you want to do for a cut. For a cut, you keep your protein at that 1 gram per body weight, and your carbs are lowered. You want to lose 1 pound of fat per week, essentially. That's going to get you feeling still really decent and looking good. Like, it's gonna take longer, right? You're not gonna be able to cut all this fat in like a week or some shit like that, right? And also keep yourself hydrated, because your hydration is so key towards keeping you healthy and doing all that, something I struggle with. But that's my cut stuff. He said protein, right? Carbs lowered to about, I think he said like 75% or something. He was giving me some numbers. And then fats kind of just fill in the rest for your calorie deficit. Okay? All you need to do is work out hard as, right? Sleep good. Eat enough. Eat enough. A lot of you don't eat enough. Why can't I get bigger? Because you eat 700 calories. That's why. That's why. Hormones, right? That comes from diet, though. So these are like two. Those are like two. Hydration. Hydration / electrolytes, so key. You have to refuel your body. You have to get your nutrients transported from one place to another. You can't do that if you're dehydrated. Your sleep will be bad if you're dehydrated. Your hormones will go if you're dehydrated. You'll feel it when you wake up. All that stuff, right? So lock in, stop it, right? And kind of go after it. That's kind of, I was a big ass tangent, car talk. You know, I do love every single one of you guys, right? I have 30 of you that stay like true to it. I haven't uploaded in 5 weeks and you guys still have stayed. I really love you guys. I really love you guys. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. To everyone else who is watching, you know, hey, consider subscribing, because I put out content. You know, the last 5 weeks, not a good example of that, but all the weeks prior to that, pretty good example of that. It's best when I have like breaks between school, but like I said, my new priority, geez, I like a dried booger or something, kind of gross. My new priority is doing good enough in school and making these videos every single week, because I really, really, really enjoy this. And although sometimes it feels like a job when I feel like, oh, I have to upload, it just keeps me disciplined, and that's something that I need to do better of, because sometimes I lack it when I start putting shit off, and this is an example of that. All right, I'm pretty sure I've rambled on for long enough. Like, subscribe, send to your grandma, and comment cortisol if you made it this far. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Cardiophiles, you know, they came out before. That tells you how we're in a position of. But if I don't get drafted, I'll see y'all guys in the next video.